Hey, what's up everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things Rocket League. Yesterday, we ended up watching the opening matches for the winter split for NA Regional Event 1. Also put out a thank you video for 25,000 subs. If you guys haven't seen that, go check that out. That'll be linked in the description as well. But it basically talks about some of the stuff that I want to do in the future. But in today's video, because there were some pretty crazy matches yesterday, we're going to be recapping day 1 of NA Regional 1, talking about what's going to be going on today if you guys decide to watch those matches, as well as how things will end up continuing next week. But before we get into that, as always, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys drop some love with a thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, all that fun stuff. And all my social medias can be found in the description down below, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, or if you'd like to join the Discord and join the community, you can find that in there as well. With all that said, let's get straight into the video. So looking at the bracket, we're going to start at the bottom groupings and then take those 4 and then go to the next 4, kind of like we did in a previous video. Up first, we got Continuum version 1, XSET, and Sippin' Ice Cubes. You will then see another team that kind of enters as the new challenger approaches kind of style in the second round of these because they have a bye, so you'll see that in just a sec. But the first 4, Continuum version 1, we're going to start with them. As you guys know, version 1 is the team that I broadcast, so a lot of information that I can provide for that. But this team is a different type of team from what people have seen from version 1. I'm super happy they finally got to showcase it. I was quite excited to watch these matches, primarily because I have known for a while how good version 1 can be, and I was hoping that they would also showcase that for everybody else. The new edition of COM has provided a different experience to version 1. They've been competitive. They've had upset matches to find themselves in advantageous positions in the grid. But COM has provided a different style of play with super mechanical approaches, the ability to slow it down, speed it up, and a lot of pressure that comes up on offense, while also still bailing them out of problems on defense. Every single player getting involved on offense and defense has made them a big threat. It's just a matter of, are they going to play up or down to their competition? And in their first series against Continuum, they show they are done playing down to their competition. Yes, game 1 is 2-1 in an overtime, but then 4-0 and 1-0 to close it out in that kind of game 3 where the other team starts to adapt. They still find a way to win with an early goal, and they hold on to that lead. They don't let in garbage goals that normally shouldn't happen. So I'm very happy to see what happens here with version 1 as they continue to progress. They win in their first round. They'll be going on to play against Space Station. And the other set of matches, it's XSET versus Sipping Ice Cubes. XSET has now added the addition of Hoxer coming over from United and has not really looked all that great with the addition of Hoxer yet. This is going to be a team that takes a lot of time to kind of draft and develop, I guess is a way to say it. On the other side is Sippin' Ice Cubes. Forky has surrounded himself with a little bit better talent than what he has done in the past. And they start off pretty strong, 2-1 and 1-0. Looks like they're going to be able to close it out, but then all of a sudden goes to overtime and XSET wins that one. And then they win the next one. And then they win the next one and shutting out Sippin' Ice Cubes in game 4 and 5. And with a reverse sweep, knocks down Sipping Ice Cubes to the lower bracket. This is kind of what separates the good from the great, is no matter what, you find a way to win. And these are the kind of things where experience really come in handy. So shout outs to Alpha Cap and the rest of the crew. They are able to have a reverse sweep and move on. They play Rogue up next. Space Station in version 1 was an interesting one. Obviously, there's all the information going on social media about Reddles and his situation about Europe and the conversation. If you know what I'm talking about, I put a video out earlier this week. I will have a link to that in the description if you guys would like to take that a look. Otherwise, it'll be in the recommended as well. But this was a battle. This was probably my favorite series of the day by far because of how close it really was. And not only was it super close, but it was also a very large upset. Space Station and Energy, both teams that many consider to be at the absolute top of the region. Space Station actually loses here, and version 1 clutches it in overtime in game 5 and in a very exciting moment. 3-1 in game 1 from Space Station. Version 1 doesn't ever look too far out of it. Just Space Station looks like they came prepared a little bit better. The difficulty too, and I know a lot of players have expressed the frustration with this format already. Number 1, version 1 is warmed up already. They have played a match going into a match against a team that is cold. Yes, they scrim and kind of warm up beforehand, but playing in a competitive situation is entirely different. It's been a frustration in the past. And the other mentality of they don't want one bad day or one bad thing to determine all their results across the board. You saw the conversation in this between Jazzo and Gibbs on social media, and Gibbs's result was, well, if you're first or second seed and you're losing to the 15th and 16th seed, there's going to be a chance that you don't get to make it into the top 4 because you lost to the worst seeds in the entire bracket. That is essentially what happened here. You're talking your number 1 overall seed lost to the 16th seed in version 1. That is a big upset in the sense of how things go, even though I do think version 1 is highly underrated. The results are what you have to go based upon things. So a big upset here. There is 2 overtimes. Game 2 was a nail biter. 5 minutes and 42 seconds of overtime, almost 6 minutes, 3-2 in favor of version 1. And then SSG bounces back, and then version 1 bounces back, another 3-2. Every single game but the first game was a 1-goal game. It was very close. But the difference here is version 1 does not back down. They have broken many hearts of going to game 5 and falling short, and in this time they do not. So very exciting moment. I'll have a clip here, hopefully. There is a moment of me showing and watching it, and there's a 50-50 created and ends up bouncing into the wall and coming straight down, which keeps it from Space Station clearing the ball. It pinches across kind of pinball style, and then Gimmick just blasts it top right and closes it out. So very exciting series, a lot of excitement. Just overall really happy for the guys. They've been working really hard to get to this moment. And the fact that COM has come in and given them this new resurgence, it's unfortunate because we still don't know what's happening with AXB. But very, very exciting series. The other match in this group is between Rogue and XSET. XSET off the reverse sweep, then goes up against Rogue that is just warming up. And Rogue pretty much has their way with the other team. A lot of concerns I had from watching Rogue the first time when Taroko came in is I wasn't sure what they're going to do. There was a lot of solo plays and a lot of individual stuff. But there wasn't really a semblance of offense. It just felt like this guy goes and tries to do a thing, falls apart, goes the other way, they lose. And in this circumstance, they actually looked like a team. So again, the reason why I haven't done power rankings is because I've been trying to see how these teams are going to develop with their new players. And it does look like Rogue is coming along nicely. So 3-1 in favor of them. They will be going up against version 1 next week. To keep you guys up to date on winners quarters, the way that this is going to work is a winners quarterfinals, winners semifinals, everything else is going to be next week, Saturday. And then the finals and everything will be next week, Sunday. It is over the course of 2 weeks. Jumping down to the next set is Sonics, Crimson Wings, United, Down to Earth, and then 2 more that we'll get into in the second round. Sonics versus Crimson Wings. Sonics was a team that I thought, based on results last time, they looked like they were going to get a little bit better. Things were going to be a little bit better in the results side for them and a little bit more convincing. And of course, because for whatever reason, Sonics decides not to do that, they end up going against Crimson Wings, going all the way to 5, 2 overtimes, where Crimson Wings wins 1 at the very beginning, and then Sonics wins 1 in game number 4 to bring it to game 5. Looks like Crimson Wings could have had this. Prime Thunder and Wonder back together with skills, but Sonics does hold on. Again, the good teams find ways to win no matter what, even if it is sloppy play. So Sonics, again, is still trying to figure out what their situation is going to be with J. Russ and T. Corral. How is it going to unfold? Jock had a pretty nice dribble play and some open field opportunities as well, moving up the field. So a little bit of everything from them. But glad to see it still staying competitive. So Sonics moves on to play G2. On the other side, we then got E United versus Down to Earth. Remember, Down to Earth is no longer the Down to Earth Continuum, you remember. They are now Down to Earth, the former Zookeepers team. E United and Down to Earth goes 3-1 in favor of E United, which was as expected. And the one game that D2E wins was an overtime. Only 8 seconds, though, right off the kickoff, they ended up scoring. So 3-2, 3-1, 2-3, and then 6-2, really closing it out. And you could tell, like, United was finally starting to warm up. That's kind of the difficulty of these first matches. The fact that it is a double elimination, and if you aren't rearing to go and you drop early, like, you're putting yourself in a really tough spot. So big win there for United. Jumping back up, then G2 versus Sonics. I'm not going to waste anybody's time on this. G2 wiped the floor with Sonics. It wasn't even a match. Sonics scored 1 goal in game 3, but 3-0, 2-0, and 4-1. Sonics, rough match for here. G2 looking like, again, a top 4 team in North America. We then go to the other side, and the second upset of the day was PEEPS versus E United. Many consider PEEPS a top 5 team, and E United chance for upset, I would say. A very talented team. I do like the addition of Tristan and how it's been developing. And with Ajax grinding as heavily as he is, he's now off the Batmobile. Things have been looking pretty good. A lot of talent in that team, a lot of opportunities. One of Mike's still cracked as always. But 2 overtimes, one at the very beginning and one at the very end in this 4-game series. And United wins both of them, which is surprising to me because PEEPS is normally a team that is willing to go and be a little bit over-aggressive and go for demos to open up opportunities when teams are normally playing a bit more passive. High-pressure situations, you're in overtime, you make a mistake and you lose. PEEPS goes, well, we're going to force you to make that mistake because we're confident and we're going to punish you for it. I saw them do it numerous times on the grid against other teams. But this time, United ends up coming out ahead. 14 seconds in first overtime. Second overtime, 2 minutes, 28 seconds. United moves forward. They will be playing G2 next week. So exciting things there. We then go down to the next 4. It's Ghost Gaming, 72-pin connector, Loco, and Soul. And then we've got Energy and Alpine, which we'll talk about in just a sec. Ghost Gaming, obviously this is a team that I was curious as well in how things were going to go. They gave us a pretty good shout in WSOE with the open qualifiers, but since then hasn't really looked all that great. Wasn't sure what Mektos' involvement is going to be. Still kind of figuring things out. Again, why I haven't done power rankings. This time, very convincing. 72 PC is just in a really rough spot. This team is now 2/3 of Allegiance, which is one of the worst performing teams in Rocket League history for the RLCS. And I just don't really feel confident in the team all that much, which is unfortunate because I do like the people on the team and the organization behind it, even though they're unsigned. It's not an official organization. They just carry themselves that way, and it's probably why I have the respect that I do. But 72 PC they're just being outclassed in talent and performance and everything else. It definitely feels like people still holding on, which is kind of weird. It's like you want to still see people like Jacob and stuff compete, but it's just not going the way that it is. I don't know. It's a tough situation because they continue to still be a team that's capable of top 16, top 20, which is good. But if you're not signed, I don't know. It's a really weird situation, but it's unfortunate for 72 PC. Similar regards to like what's going on with Charlotte Phoenix. Either way, Ghost Gaming, Mektos looking better into the form with his replacement of Luke. 2-1, 2-1, and 4-2 in that last game. 72 PC, despite what I said, does keep it close. So they are still competitive. It's just nowadays, like, it's a win or nothing. It's unfortunate because this new format or circuit style is very unforgiving. We then dropped down to LOCO and Seoul. Wasn't sure how this one was going to go. But LOCO obviously given the nod. They do end up beating Seoul 3-0, another convincing win. 2-0, 3-0, and then 2-1. So Seoul, when they're trying to bounce back in that adjustment game, just can't really hold it out. We then jump up to probably the biggest surprise. It is Energy versus Ghost Gaming, and Ghost Gaming wins in 5. That was the third biggest upset, or that was the third upset of the day. Starts off with Ghost Gaming out of the gate winning 2-1. We're like, oh shoot, they actually can win this. Game comes back, Energy wins 3-0, and you're like, all right, okay. Now they'll win 3-1. Energy closes out the series, no problem. I was in Discord call with Com from version 1 during this series, and he and I were talking about it, and it's just like, we both kind of disagreed of like, I mean, Ghost could do this. And I talked about how the team is much better on paper than what the results have been showing. And then we got the results. Ghost Gaming really put it away. It comes down to an overtime in game 5, which Ghost actually ends up winning. It was a weird series. Energy definitely didn't look like pinnacle energy. Something seemed a little bit off. Accuracy was a little bit missing on some of the shots, but good for Ghost, man, to put up a fight and actually keep it competitive despite that. Like, you got to win the games to the best of your ability. Whether the team's playing sloppy or at the best or not, it doesn't matter. A win's a win. And with that, Ghost Gaming is going to move on. On the other side, Alpine Esports just the better team over LOCO. They 3-0. There's not a whole lot to talk about this. They're just 3 players that are very fast and aggressive. And despite that, I will say LOCO does bring it to 2 OTs, all 1-goal games, much closer series than what 3-0 states. If you want to see the difference between like new generation players and how they're kind of combating against each other, the difference of the experience in having a well-respected coach, a guy that's been there for a long time, Alpine series versus LOCO is a really good example of that. Kind of a new generation of play going on. It's kind of cool. Ghost Gaming, Alpine, your other quarterfinal match that will be next week as well. We then get into our last group of the bracket. We've got BOSF, the former Jamal Jabari, Nefarious, Pittsburgh Knights, and Is I'm Dreaming. The Jamal Jabari team to me is the way that I describe it to people, kind of your gatekeeper team. By all means, I don't think they're going to ever push to like top 8. But I do think they will keep all the other teams that are in that like 24 to like 16 spots. Like, you're still below us. We're the team you have to get through. And if you can't get through us, then you don't stand a chance. And BOSF is still a good team. They're super consistent. They work really well together as a team. Each player is definitely capable of stuff. It's just when it comes to the big moments of the big players, they do get overshadowed. So in this one, though, they put up quite a few goals. 5-1, 4-2, and then 2-1 OT for game 3. They closed it out 3-0. On the other side, Pittsburgh Knights. This is a team that I've been really excited to watch. They start off kind of slow here against Is I'm Dreaming and go to an overtime, 2 minutes 14, and lose it. Then you really see why they brought in Sosa. ZPS also took the time to stop by chat, so shoutouts to ZPS. Maybe in his first series, game 1 is going to be Zabi, game 2 is going to be Poop, and then game 3 is going to be Shark for the 3-0 sweep and the 3-name sweep. After the conversation we just had about name changes and rules and stuff, but he ended up coming in and providing some insight. Really happy with what Sosa's been doing. A different looking PK, a very urgent PK to the ball, very aggressive, very challenging, want to beat you to everything and make sure you never get a free touch. It's very aggressive and kind of overwhelming. If they're playing on like they did today, where they're not making small mistakes on touches, they're going to be a tough one to beat. And that's exciting because it's another team that's trying to progress and make moves. A lot of these teams that were in the 6 to 12 spots are not happy. They know that's barely enough to make it into LAN if they're 6th every single time. The World Championship in the summer of next year. So making a move to continue to push into the top 3, top 4 spots to get some of those points are going to be really important. And PK looks like a team that could possibly do that. I think they can push the boundary for that 5-6 area where, you know, the PEEPS have been, where teams like version 1 or Rogue have been on a good day. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how PK plays, but upset city for them coming up. We then look at Team Envy versus BOSF, and thank God no upsets here. Team Envy is like, we are the better team, and man, did they make BOSF look silly. Pass plays galore. They, to me, are showing what it means to have a dynamic offense. They will go direct approach. They'll take a solo play right at the target. It's not there. Ball kicks out. They push it back in around the back wall, and then they try to take a shot off the backboard. It's not there. It kicks back out. They take a pass. They shove it midfield without it going anywhere. And then Turbo, in the matter of seconds, has taken like 1 or 2 shots, and they're still put on target. And it's just like, with that much threat, that is an offense that is very difficult to defend because you're getting multiple different looks at how to shoot the ball on offense. Direct, backboard, midfield pass, solo play, whatever it is, it's just one after another. And then they pair that with a really good defense. I will say BOSF did put up a pretty good fight on defense. They kept it relatively close. 3-1, 2-1, and 2-1 with an OT at the very end. And that's commendable. I think BOSF, again, is always going to be a team that is that gatekeeper. They are one that is going to make you fight for it. But in this circumstance, Envy just overwhelmed them with just individual skill. It was really exciting because that individual skill translated to team play, and it was just fun to watch. So Envy, a team that's moving on, even though they have a bye going in on that day, they will be going up against the other team, which was in our last upset of the day. Kansas City Pioneers, a team many consider in the top 5, kind of in that PEEP spot, alongside Pittsburgh Knights, the new addition of Sosa, and Pittsburgh Knights sweeps them. 3-0 in favor of Pittsburgh Knights, 2-1, 2-1, and 3-0. Kansas City Pioneers just looked flat. It was weird to watch a team just completely overwhelm Kansas City Pioneers, known for memory and consistency and being able to carry them out of tough situations and really awkward scenarios. And just, they kept getting punished for it over and over again. And yes, they kept it close. They did put up a good fight, but Pittsburgh Knights controlled the majority of that game. Like, Kansas City Pioneers, a team that thrives on chaos, was not able to create any of their own. And that's commendable for Pittsburgh Knights because this is them trying to transition again into that next spot. They will be going up against a very defensive-heavy Envy, a team that knows how to handle pressure quite well. That is going to be a very exciting match. The ones I look forward to the most, B1 and Rogue, G2 and E United. I think Ghost Gaming Alpine could be exciting, but I should give the nod to Alpine unless Ghost can continue to do what they're doing. And then Envy versus Pittsburgh Knights. You're taking the 1 and 2 seed, dropping them down to the lowers. The 3-4 seed are moving forward. The 5-6 seed are also dropping down to lowers. And then the 7th, 8th seed are moving up. It is wild. Your high seeds and your expected seeds from their side of the bracket are in the lowers. If we take as a last but not least in that lower brackets, you got Energy Continuum, Poor Continuum, Loco Sipping Ice Cubes. That one could be exciting. BOSF, Crimson Wings also should be a nail biter. Kansas City Pioneers down to earth. Kansas City Pioneers hopefully bounce back on that one. You then got Space Station versus 72 PC. If that is not a 3-0, something's wrong with Space Station. XSET versus Soul XSET. Hopefully you can take that one. Sonic's Nefarious. Sonic should take that. And then PEEPS should go on a run as well. So that lower round should be very exciting. Tomorrow, which is technically today when this video comes out, the lower rounds will be today. Lower round 1 and lower round 2. That is it. A couple matches that they're going to be going through. And then next week on Saturday, we'll start to go through lower round 3 and 4. We'll start to go through the uppers. And then next week, Sunday, will end up being the finals. Your winners finals, your lower semifinals, and your grand finals and stuff like that. So again, if you guys want to stay up to date on all things Rocket League, what's going down, recaps like this, if you enjoy these kind of long form recaps, let me know in the comments down below. Questions, comments, concerns, as always. And while you're down there, if you enjoy the content, thumbs up, subscribe, notifications, all that fun stuff. Almost at 30,000. Greatly appreciate the continued support. And if you want to see kind of the thank you video and the updates on that, don't forget to check out the video I put out yesterday. We'll catch you next time.